Well, that's covered in the code book, and that's also covered by just what you call this common logic, you might say, or logic itself. Every person, even a baby, tries to help itself. A baby tries to stand up in the crib. I mean, even when you're trying to keep the baby in the crib, the baby is trying to figure out how to get out of the crib because the baby doesn't like being caged. Once the baby becomes aware that the crib is a crib and that the baby is able to get out and do things that the baby can see other people doing, they see other creatures moving around that are not confined to that small space. So that's just a natural urge. Now, the white supremacists kill that natural urge in non-white people because they want non-white people to just sit in a corner until the white supremacists come along and tell them what to do and beat them into making them do it, all right, for the convenience of the white supremacists. That's what white supremacy is all about, okay? But people should have the incentive to help themselves. Now, if a person doesn't have the incentive, then you start with what they got. They don't have the incentive. So you try to inspire them simply by talking to them, asking them to do something other than what they're doing, which is what I do on this program. Do something other than what you're doing if what you're doing is not constructive. And I want people to always tell me when I'm doing something that's non-constructive. I really appreciate that. Even if I don't act on it immediately, out of habit, out of laziness, I want to be told what I should be doing, the best thing that I should be doing, in order to get what? The best result for me. Because when you're doing something constructive and it works for you, because if it doesn't work for you, it's not constructive anyway. It should work for you. It should work for anybody who believes in doing constructive things. So every creature, every ant, every bird, every rhinoceros, every crocodile should be doing something constructive and solving problems without making any. That includes crocodiles, even though the people will say, well, the crocodiles don't do anything constructive for anybody else but itself. Well, that's on account of the environment, maybe, that over millions of years people have made for the crocodile. Crocodiles probably, at one time, weren't considered something to be afraid of. But they got to be something to be afraid of, like people got to be something to be afraid of by things that people do. Throwing things out of balance. When you throw one thing out of balance, the trees, the air, the rocks, the mountains, the oceans, when you pollute things, when you have so-called food intake that's incorrect, or you stick needles in your arms that have stuff that does things that it shouldn't do, might appear to be doing things that it should do, but that's just an appearance. Lots of things, lots of fruit, lots of things that look like fruit shouldn't be eaten by people because it's not for people. They tell me there's a difference between a so-called toadstool that I was told when I was very young and out in the country. They look alike, a so-called toadstool, whatever that meant, but it looks like a mushroom. But there's a difference. They look alike, but one is deadly and one is nourishing. And there are a lot of things on the planet that are like that, including every person that you look at, because we all carry poison now. We can't be anything other than a poisonous people in the system of white supremacy. White people are completely poisoned, and black people are completely poisoned. We are poison creatures, almost to the nth degree. Why? Because of a system that is absolutely corrupt when it comes to people being what they ought to be.